Chapter 1. The Slow Withdrawal. Most people don't check out of life all at once. They do it gradually, in increments so small they barely notice. They stop pursuing what they actually wanted and settle for what felt safer. They stop showing up fully in their relationships and start going through the motions. They trade the life they imagined for a quieter, smaller, more defended version, and they call it being realistic. That is a slow version of giving up, and it is far more common than the dramatic kind. I want to talk about the opposite. Not just surviving, the full, aggressive, deliberate opposite of checking out, which is going all in on your life, your relationships, your work, and your potential. Committing to the whole thing with everything you have for as long as you have it. Chapter 2. You're only a funigbusse. David Goggins grew up with an abusive father, in poverty, struggling with obesity and racism. But despite this, he became a Navy SEAL and an ultra-marathon runner. Not because he was gifted, but because he refused to accept the ceiling his circumstances and his own mind tried to put on him. His central idea is the 40%. When your mind tells you you're done, you are actually at 40% of your real capacity. The other 60% is locked behind a mental governor that exists purely to protect you from discomfort. Not danger, discomfort. Think about what that means. The project you abandoned because it got too hard, the goal you quietly retired because progress was slow. In almost every case, you weren't at your limit. You're at 40% or even lower. The first move in going all in is recognizing that moment your mind has stopped as the beginning of the real work, not the end of it. Chapter 3. Own everything. Jocko Willink commanded one of the most decorated special operation units of the Iraq War. The principle he brought back? Extreme ownership. Everything in your life is your responsibility. Not some of it. Everything. That sounds brutal. It is also the most liberating idea on the list. If everything is your fault, everything is within your power to change. The victim has no agency. The owner has total agency. The moment you stop explaining your life in terms of what happened to you and start asking what you're going to do about it, you've made the most important shift available to a human being. Write down the 3 biggest things in your life that aren't where you want them. For each one, write down every way your own choices or inactions contributed. Not to punish yourself, to find the lever. The lever is always inside you, and you can't pull it until you find it. Chapter 4. The obstacle is the invitation. Ryan Holiday built an entire book around one line from Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle you're currently facing is not a reason to withdraw. It's an invitation to engage more deeply than before. The people who got all in don't have fewer obstacles. They have a different relationship with them. They treat resistance as data, not a verdict. Name the obstacle making you want to pull away right now. Then ask one question. What would it look like to move forward, towards this, rather than away from it? The act of turning towards the very thing you've been avoiding is itself the opposite of checking out. Chapter 5. You have to be willing to be seen. Brené Brown spent 20 years researching what separates people who live with genuine fulfillment from people who feel perpetually disconnected. The answer? Vulnerability. Going all in requires showing up without guarantees. Telling someone how you feel before you know how they will respond. Pursuing something you might fail at publicly. The defended version of yourself. The one that only commits to things with a guaranteed return. That keeps relationships at a safe distance. That version is safe. It is also slowly dying. A life lived behind armor is not a life fully lived. The move isn't dramatic. One honest conversation you've been avoiding, one relationship where you've been present in body and absent in truth. Go all the way in on that one thing, and notice what it does to everything around it. Chapter 6. The Life Calendar. Tim Urban gave a TED Talk that ends with a grid of squares. Each square is 1 week of a human life. The average life contains around 4,000 of them. When you count how many are already filled in, something shifts, not into panic, but into clarity. Frankel survived the worst circumstances imaginable and arrived at one conclusion. The people who hold on are the people who have something ahead of them worth holding on for. A reason. Something that exists in the future that hasn't happened yet. Name it. Right now. What is the thing you are here to do, build, become, or experience that hasn't happened yet? Write it down. Not as a vague intention, as a special declaration. That is your reason to go all in. The answer to every moment of comfortable withdrawal your mind will offer you from here forward. Chapter 7. Go all in. The opposite of checking out isn't optimism or positive thinking. It is a daily, deliberate decision to engage fully with the life you actually have, its obstacles, discomforts, and uncertainties included. Goggins calls it getting after it. Willink calls it extreme ownership. Holiday calls it turning towards the obstacle. Brown calls it daring greatly. Frankel calls it meeting. They are all describing the same thing. The choice to be fully present in your own life, at full capacity, without waiting for conditions to improve. 3 things this week. 1 moment where you hit 40% and push past it. 1 area where you take full ownership instead of finding an explanation. 1 honest move towards a thing that you've been avoiding. Not a grand gesture, a daily practice of not checking out, starting today.